Good morning, everyone. So it is Thursday, the day that we call Thursday, the date that we call the 23rd, in the month that we call October, in the year that we call 2025. And I feel like the camera's not angled right. Let me pull it more this way. And I don't know. We'll see how that works out. I hear him coming. I got a little bone for him, just in case. Hi, buddy. There you go. Oh, my baby. He's so cute. So, good morning, everyone. It is 6:16 here right now. 6:16 a.m. Pitch black. Pitch black. We're in the darkness. We're in the dark season. I have to remember every year to love this season. I always feel really pushed. We live in Maine, so there's two seasons. There's winter and getting ready for winter. And we all start getting ready for winter in the spring while enjoying spring, summer, and fall. By fall, we're feeling the crunch. Like we've got to wrap everything up so that we're ready for when the snow starts flying and when the darkness creeps in and it's getting really dark early in the evening and you don't really have time outside to complete tasks the way you did just weeks ago, it starts to make you feel a little anxious. So I have to relearn every season to just breathe, relax. It will get done and just kind of stay in flow so that I don't create resistance and make it harder for us to get our shit done just by creating that resistance to it. And then, honestly, the darkness, this period of time that we go through where we have a lot of dark in the morning and a lot of dark at night. I love the darkness, the quiet of it, the energy of it. It's very peaceful. And I think it's good for us to have this period of time where you sort of go into that more peaceful state. Because spring, summer, and fall, it's the energy of busy, doing. And the darkness and the cold sort of force you to get yourself ready to unwind and be still a little earlier in the evening, which I think is good for us. If it weren't for that, we would probably just consistently find something to keep us busy. And stillness is where we manifest. Stillness is where we create. It's where we connect. And it's also where we heal. So it's important. I think it's good that we have these periods of darkness. It's just that I have to relearn to love it again. And it's only because of the pressure I feel to get things done before snow flies. But anyway, there's my babble this morning. I hope everybody's having a beautiful morning. So today, yesterday I was going to look at the media. So a few days back or a couple days back, it said that the media is being controlled right now. And the ridiculousness of it is being controlled right now, like done on purpose. So the question today would be what they want me to ask is when it will fall completely. And I've sort of sat with that personally, thinking about it, and I'm like, I think this over ridiculousness that you're seeing in the media is the fall of the media, because so many people have turned away from mainstream media because of its ridiculousness. For a long time, mainstream media was influencing people subtly, so they didn't know they were being pushed in a particular direction. And it was just subtle. They presented things as news even though it was lies. And so that was their way of steering the sheep, right? In a particular direction. And now you have the over ridiculousness of it, like the blatant contradictions and the obvious lies and the obvious pushing their opinions rather than news. It's all very obvious. And people are waking up to it, and they're leaving mainstream, and they're finding their news in other ways. They're looking for their news on their own rather than trusting the news source. So I think this is the fall of it. This is the collapse of the media, and it's being done the way that it's being done, as it said in the reading the other day, so that those that are able to start to awaken and see it for what it is will move away from it naturally. Now we know that there will be a percentage of people that never step out of that place where, I mean, there's always going to be this percentage of people that trust the news. And I think that percentage of people will also be the percentage of people that that never want to accept the truths that may come out that will contradict their own confirmation bias, that will throw them into cognitive dissonance, that will keep them clinging to their ideologies and not challenge their belief systems, right? So I don't know what that's going to look like, but I do know that we have been told over and over and over again that there is going to be a percentage of people that just don't wake up or accept the truth about what has been being done to this country by their governments, by their news stations, by their favorite musicians, actors, actresses. There's just going to be a percentage that's lost forever, right? So, I don't know. And it's their path. It's not their path. As long as these people aren't creating harm to anyone committing crimes, then whatever they believe, whatever their path is, that's fine. And I think the majority of the people that you would consider, I think the majority of the people that you would consider to have like TDS or extreme woke ideologies, I think for the most part, those people don't have the intention to go out and harm someone. There are people that do, and if they do go out and harm people or others, then, you know, they should be held accountable and there should be consequences for that. But as long as they're not harming anybody, this is a free country, and it's meant to be a free country, and they're welcome to their opinions, ideologies, beliefs. They're, you know, I mean, that's what freedom is, right? So let's take a look at the mainstream media today and its pathway forward. And that way we can see if it's just going to cease to exist. Like, will there be a day when there is no ABC News or NBC News or CNN, or will there be a day when people are just seeking news from the back channels? But this is the thing, it can be, you know, when you're seeking news, it's still going to be like, it's like you're seeking news, but there's always opportunity for fake news to arise. Look at all the fake news on the back channels, on the front channels. So there's fake news and lies and disinformation and misinformation everywhere. So I think really honestly, this is the time, and I mean, we get it in the cards all the time. This is where people really need to train their brain to use discernment. That muscle has not been used for so long. They've just trusted, right? So this is a period of time where we all need to be using that muscle and practicing discernment, because there's always room for someone to try to mislead you. So before we start the reading on the media, the mainstream media, we're going to pull a card just to see what today's universal message is for insight, clarity, advice, whatever. So don't follow any links in the comment section of the channels soliciting you for anything, whether they're pretending to be me or anyone else. Just don't do it. They're scammers. Don't do it. And obviously the healing intentions are always set here on this channel for anyone and everyone that is welcome, that welcomes receiving it. So if you want that, you so choose, go ahead, stand in your power and decree that for your highest and greatest good, only and always. And now, as you guys know, we're coming together with our Creator, our highest selves, our spiritual team, all of that which have our highest and greatest good for intentions, only and always. Only love is welcome here. Only truth is welcome here. Okay? So let's take a minute just to get from the universe what they might like to say to us with one card as we begin this session together today. One card for advice, clarity, a message, whatever you think we could benefit most from hearing today in this moment as the energy stands. Please and thank you. With one card. Let's cut them. Endings. The universe is assuring us. I'm sorry about the glare. This is my 10 of rods. And 10 means ending. It's an ending. It's a complete ending. It's not ending. It's not, we're in the ending. This is a complete ending. And a new beginning, really, because 10 is 1 plus 0. 1 is new beginnings, and 0 amplifies that energy. And so the universe wants us to know that a way of life has ended. It wasn't working for us. It wasn't working for us. It was a back-breaking job. There's no life in that journey. This is rods, so it is the day-to-day, your physical journey here, right? There was no life in that journey. So they've all been harvested. All of those rods have been harvested because there was no life. They've been taken out of the garden, picked up, and they're being walked off because they're going to be disposed of. There's no life in it. And that's obvious. So rather than pretending that this is still working and going against what actually works, the sticks have just all been picked up and they're being walked off to be put on the burn pile and, done away with. So that's what the universe wants to remind us of. A way of life has ended. It wasn't working and it's ended. And we're beginning something very new. And the universe just wants to remind us all of that today. So with that, let's take a look, please and thank you, at the pathway to the mainstream media. Show us what that looks like for the mainstream media moving forward. Hold on just a minute, you guys. I gotta do something. Hold right on. I'm gonna pause you. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, but the door that goes down into that sunroom was open, and the fire's not lit down there, and a cold draft was coming up and making me really, really cold. So, and I don't want my heat from the pellet stove to I guess cold this morning. I want to be warm, so I'm heating this area of the trailer, and I don't want the cold air from the addition down there to come up and make it cold up here. That would be wasting my pellets. So anyway, yeah, let's take a look, please and thank you. I want a true story about the pathway for mainstream media, for news stations like CNN, ABC, NBC, even Fox, all of those typical mainstream news stations where people have been tuning in for years and years to receive their world news, their local news. Can you show me, please, the pathway that type of media and those type of stations are taking as we move forward, and the story around it to give us the information, please and thank you. Whoops, that's a really bad shuffle. These cards, they're my Deviant Moon cards. They're so cool and I love them so much. They were a present from my son, and years ago when I, with one of the spankings that YouTube gave me, I had to color them. Put little outfits on people and whatnot, which made me really sad, but you know, we do what we've got to do, right? But I love them. They're so cool. They're a very thick, this is like a really, I don't know if you can see it, but they're a very thick, sturdy deck, and a little longer, you know, than that deck, just a little bit. You see, there's a tiny difference, but they're a little harder to shuffle because they are so sturdy. Where my rider deck, this deck here, is more like playing card material. This one is like a thick paper material. So they're just a little harder to shuffle, but I just really love them. And I have really short, stumpy hands. So, and my hands are full of osteo and rheumatoid arthritis, so. All right, I feel like a couple more shuffles will do it for us to get our true story and our pathway as to where the mainstream media is headed from here. One more, and we're going to cut them. And I'm going to get a sip of my coffee. And I'm going to figure out where to put these things. They are giving us this a lot, you guys. This is that Four of Rods coming back up. Yeah, I'm just going to lay them, and then I'll play with the angle afterwards, so that, oh, it's ending, you guys. The way mainstream is done is ending. Look at all these endings. Well, you probably can't see it just yet, but you will in just a minute once I figure this angle out a little bit. So how did we have it yesterday? I never know. I'm going to tip you down. I'm going to try to tip you down. And this is different. I don't know why I can't figure out something as simple as how to lay these, how to set this camera up every single day in the same way. Let me tip you down a little bit more. Why is this different? I mean, honestly. What in the heck, you guys? All right. Well, I'm just going to pick them up and show them to you. It's a little crowded. I don't know why it's like this. Hold on. I just don't want to lose the camera out of the... Yeah, see, it pops a little bit when I mess with that. Makes me a little nervous that I might be losing it. I'm just going to pick them up and show them to you as we go. So, the trajectory of the mainstream media, you guys, it's pathway. So, right now, the energy that's driving the pathway is strength, and that's 11, and that's like new beginnings, okay? And it's a higher arcana card. And then we have the Hermit, which is a higher arcana card, which is a 9, which is ending, bringing an end to. And then at the very top, we have the Moon, which totally ends cycles. So the mainstream media is undergoing some major karmic changes, which eventually leads to an ending, right? We have endings, tens, like completions of endings. We have the 9, which is bringing the end to. It's the end is completing a cycle of, and then we have this 11, which is driving it all, which is new beginnings, awakening. 11 is really all about awakening, the crown chakra. Connecting, seeing with clear eyes, right? Those higher dimensions. And then we have divine love and intellect. And we have coming together, simplicity, balance, working to create balance. So you would be working to find news, right? So let me go over this entire story in order. Let me start with our pathway. So the energy that's driving the pathway for mainstream media is strength. And again, that's 11. That's an awakening of the crown chakra. Now, if you'll look at this guy is examining the serpent or the little fish type thing or whatever the heck that is, right? Who knows what that is, the little creature. He's got this creature and he's literally looking down this creature's throat. So right now, the energy of the mainstream media is to create an awakening. And that's what the media right now, the mainstream media right now, and the way that it is going and what you're seeing is to create an awakening. It's so that people examine this mainstream media very closely and begin to awaken to what's happening there. Now, with this Deviant Moon deck, this is a 9, right? So that's ending, completion, ending a cycle. We're ending a cycle. So the way the news has been done, sorry, the 9 is upward. This is an 11. So this is all about awakening the crown and making people look closely and examine things. But with this card, I was looking at my Hermit. That's a 9. We'll get to that in a minute. Because that's present, right? This is the energy driving it. And this is the present. So with strength, it's to awaken the crown, get people connecting, seeing clearly. It's to get them to examine the mainstream media as it is and to create a strength in humans that we have lost. Like I was just saying, the muscle that creates the discernment hasn't been used by a lot of people for a long time because it's gone to mush because they just trusted. And in a perfect world, they should have been able to trust. But This isn't a perfect world. It's a world of contrast. So that muscle has to be rebuilt. So that's what the awakening is. It's awakening that crown, getting that muscle working so that people examine things very carefully and they learn discernment and they begin learning how to see clearly. So that's the energy. But the thing is with this card is that that little serpent, is hanging on, okay? So it's hanging on to this guy's ankle. So we're in the energy of waking people up right now as far as the mainstream media goes, so that people's crowns can awaken and they can build that muscle memory of learning how to use discernment and see clearly. So the energy, though, is hanging on. The media is hanging on because right now, so far, not everybody has woken up, okay? So the mainstream has to hold on for those that can wake up to it. That's the energy that drives this pathway. Higher Arcana card, big picture, okay? Big picture, karmic times. The next card up is another Higher Arcana card. Here we go again. Big picture, karmic times. So what we're setting in right now is the Hermit, which the Hermit is that 9, which is ending a cycle of the way things were. But we have to end it by awakening people. And so the media has to hang on so that the people wake up, and then this cycle can come to a close. So what's happening right now, energetically, what we're seeing right now, is that the media is literally like driving people batshit crazy. That's a good thing. People are seeing the media for what it is. They're inspecting it, like here in Strength. They're really examining it, looking at it closely, and then they're like, what the hell? It's like almost crazy making. It's almost crazy making. And people are realizing they're moving away from it. Many people are moving away from it. They're covering their ears. They're moving into their cave. And they're like, we're not even going to listen to this crap anymore. This is obscene. So that's the energy that we're in right now. And we're in that energy because the energy that's driving this pathway is to actually bring people to that place where they are examining this. They're waking up to it. They're seeing how ridiculous it is. And they're moving away from it on their own because they're like, this is ridiculous. I don't even want to hear this anymore. And so then above that, we have the moon. And the moon is another Higher Arcana card, big picture. So the moon is saying, as this completes above the full completion, the moon says, this is all being controlled. The media is being controlled right now. The people in the media are merely puppets. They're being used to do what? Make people feel like it's ridiculous, to wake them up and get them to examine. So it's all about reveals so that it can end, because the moon does end things. But first it has to reveal everything. And people don't just trust that you say the news lies. Like, listen, my family has been in the news. I have known since I was a little girl that the news lies. They will lie. They're sleazy. They're scummy. They will come. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about the tragedy that your family is going through. They'll crawl all over your property to get the first news story. They exaggerate. It's horrible. I've known this since I was 9 years old. And then I've seen it again and again and again throughout the years. But most people don't understand that. And even though I've had this very true experience, and through that experience became very awakened to how the media operates, and have known very clearly, I just told you I was 9. So most of my life and then have seen it again and again over the years, just reiterating itself. If I share that story with somebody who trusts the news, they roll their eyes at me. Even though I'm speaking absolute truth. Even though that knowledge comes through personal experience. Even though I can take them back, if we archived things, back to when this shit was happening, and I can show them that the media lied and exaggerated and tried to create a massive story that would get them the most views. These people will still roll their eyes at me and think I'm lying. They would rather think I am lying than their beloved news stations, right? So there has to be a reveal of the things that seem so ridiculous. People are like, I'm just not trusting this anymore. Like they have to have their own experience to wake up and know. A lot of people just have to have the experience. They're not going to just trust it because somebody says it's so. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what this trajectory is, you guys. The awakening of the crown to get people to examine the mainstream media. The mainstream media holds on by gripping this ankle, holds on because right now it needs to. It's exposing things. It's creating this crazy making feeling as it completes a cycle of what was, so that people are like covering their heads, covering their ears, covering their eyes, saying, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to listen to this anymore. This is so blatantly ridiculous. But at the very top, the moon says, we're actually controlling these people that are being ridiculous. They're being made to be ridiculous. They're being made to continue in a more bold way of doing what they've been doing for a long time, so that it's a little more obvious to people. And in that way in itself, it is a reveal. And it connects people to their intuition because the moon is like driving this energy. So that's opening that crown, like down here with the strength, with that 11. It's opening that crown, getting people into their intuition so that they can start examining and discerning, you guys. And yeah, it's driven a lot of people away from the mainstream and into their caves to find their news in other ways. And we'll get to that in just a second. But the people on the mainstream media right now are being puppeted. In other words, they're being controlled. And it's to reveal things. The moon always reveals things so that it can complete the ending of the cycle that is coming to pass right now, with this energy that's creating an awakening in people. Does that make sense to you guys? So the story starts with, getting back to those basics and a more simplistic way of being. And all of this shit that we're seeing right now within the news is all about creating a semblance of balance. The news became very unbalanced with all its lies, right? So it used to be maybe a little bit of truth. It used to be maybe quite a bit of truth with a few droplets of lies in there to get people starting to steer in a different direction. Over the years, more lies got distributed in and amongst the truth. And then as a reveal, we've seen absolute lies, right? Absolute, that don't hold weight or truth. As they do some stories that with a little bit of truth, they do other stories that are complete lies, totally fabricated. And so the work has to go back into creating balance, because we've gotten to a place where there was none. And this work that's being done, this crazy making work to make people feel like, I can't stand it, and to open up their crown chakras, because if you look, part of the work that's going to create a semblance of balance as far as gathering our news and where these news stations are going, it's an awakening. So that's part of the work that's going to create something better, more simplistic, more honest, more balanced way of receiving news. And part of the work is literally making people feel crazy when it comes to that news, repelling them from it, making them feel disgusted and repulsed. That just creates an absolute repelling of the way the news is done. That's part of the work that's going into it. And then part of the work is the big reveals, because you go diagonally up and there's the moon there, right? So revealing this and making these people act obnoxious is part of the work that creates the people saying enough is enough, that opens their crowns, that gets them to strengthen that discernment muscle and examining things better. But the fact is, we're not all the way to completion yet. It has to hang on in order for us to receive these endings. All right? It has to. Right now, enough of people aren't awake to it or feeling crazy from it just yet to move it, to end it completely. So it's hanging on. That's where we're at right now. But don't get upset about it, because it's actually a good thing, okay? It's a good thing because it's compelling people to wake up. So we're talking about the news now, right? So across from this, all of this work that's being done to strengthen people's crowns, wake up that muscle and get them using that muscle to be able to start using discernment and examine things closely themselves and move away from what they're being told because of, the ridiculousness of how this is playing out. We have independent research. So, more and more people are going to be seeking out independently their research. But also with this Six of Swords, and I'm going to pick it up so that you can see it. Did I pick up the other ones? Okay, first, just let me show you the pathway. So as I said, the pathway is strength. You can see how that little serpent is still hanging on. And then it is the Hermit, where you can see they've moved into this cave, right? And they're going a little batshit crazy because they don't want to hear the crap anymore. So those are the people that have moved out of the news cycle. And then at the very top you have the moon, okay, which reveals things, opens up intuition. And this is, in this deck, you can see the moon is puppeting the marionettes. And then the story begins with all of this work with the rods, the Four of Rods, that is leading to endings and a more balanced way of doing things. And then above that you have the Six of Swords. And the swords are all about the ego, information, technology, words, thoughts, right? And this guy is in his little ship, and he's flying across the sky, and he's independent, right? He's by himself. It's under the umbrella, the energy of love. So he's all by himself, and his ego, his mind body, is what's driving him. So in the future, we're going to really have to learn how to reason with that ego, which I think falls in really well with yesterday's reading, so that we can be very, very discerning about truth when we find them. And this guy right now is like, oh, there's so much out there that maybe isn't true. A little bit of truth and a lot of like lies, right? But he's out there and he's seeking. And it feels very much like a lonesome journey to him, because it feels like everywhere he looks, he's being lied to. But that's actually a good thing, because that's part of, if you look, he's diagonally across, diagonally up from the Hermit. So that is part of the retreat away from the mainstream to learn better discernment. So there's two messages in this when you look at this reading for this question. One message is people are going to be more independent in how they find their news, and more discerning in what they're so quick to believe. And the other message would be a lot of people that are out there finding their own news will actually create their own news stations, and maybe not news stations, but news channels. Because in today's day and age, you don't need to go to your local TV station and all sit on this stage together and have all of these cameras and lighting pointing at you and your teleprompters that you're reading all from the same people, regurgitating the news to people. There's going to be more independent sources of news, and it looks like there's going to be a lot to choose from, because a lot of people are going to branch out and start saying, I'm so sick of this BS, I'm sick of these lies, I'm going to start my own channel. I'm going to start finding news, and we'll talk about it. Because these swords are like, there's so many swords in this, right? Even though they're alone. So think of a podcaster that says, well, I found X, Y, and Z for news. This is what's being said. This is what we're being shown. Let's talk about it. Let's use our muscle, our discernment muscle, and our crown, and our connection to talk about this news and discern what we consider to be truth and what we consider to be lies. So maybe wheedling out the truth from the lies, right? So there's going to be more independent things like that. And that will just continue to grow, because across from all of this work that's being done to, wake people up and drive them crazy to be able to end this cycle, we have a very happy feeling ending at the end of all of this. So by the time these mainstream medias come to totally pass with this moon, because that's a complete ending. The moon ends things. This is an ending card with the 10 of Cups. The majority of people are going to feel happy about it. They're not going to say, look, you took my news away. How terrible of you. The majority of people are going to feel good about a system that was being puppeted. It's always been puppeted, you guys. Remember, these news stations are owned by people. The people at the very top tell the news stations what to put out for news, right? And then when it comes to your local news stories, they go in and they act terrible. Even if they've traveled over to a war-torn country, even if they have done that, they're still being told what they can actually report. Do you know what I mean? So it's always been puppeted. And right now it's being puppeted to create an ending, an obvious puppeting, so that people will see and discern, so that we can get to this place of having everybody very happy that the mainstream media finally came down, or at least the majority. And the reason why it's coming down, we have that 10 of Rods, another ending. The reason why it's coming down, you guys, is because it was never a healthy journey. It was always a dead journey. People just didn't know it. And it caused a lot of problems. It's the thing that broke people's backs. And it's got to end. And so mainstream media isn't on a pathway to health and rejuvenation. They're on a pathway that is awakening people in ways they haven't been for a long time, opening up their crowns, making them study what's actually being going on in the media. And the media will hang on for as long as it needs to, while people become more and more open and aware and start really looking at the media. For this cycle to end, people have to move away from the media, right? And that the media is being puppeted right now so that people do move away from the media. And so when you have the number 18 with that moon, 1 plus 8 is 7. The universe is saying, all you have to do is look, seek the knowledge, seek the truth, seek the wisdom, and you'll be able to see clearly that this is a puppeted situation, that it's a controlled presentation, even if it's driving you nuts because you are already awakened. Even if you don't see the point in it, there is a point in it, and it will hang on for as long as it needs to for it to create this feeling of separation with as many people as possible, and for them to start seeking news in other ways, and their discernment wakes up and they're happy about these endings, and they can see clearly that this was always something that was used against them and used to get to steer them in a particular direction. And so that's what I'm getting, you guys. So that's the story of the media. So the media is going to end, but it's hanging on today because it's part of the Great Awakening process. It's part of the reveal of how shady and slimy this media has been for so long. Even though it wasn't blatant before, it still was shady and slimy. And now it's being puppeted to show blatantly how slimy it is. And of course, there's going to be people, we've been told over and over, there will be people that never buy into this. They'll always believe it. They'll hang on to that. That's their business. That's their path. It's okay. What they hang on to will be a minority and not a majority, you guys. The majority will be happy about the endings because the majority will have woken up to it. And news will just be different. It will be more independent news station, probably podcasts, news podcasts, and everybody will begin using the tools that they have in front of them to seek their own news and then discern. And that's just how it's going to be. That's where we're heading. So can I just ask, did I do a good job in relaying this message? Please and thank you. Have I done a pretty good job in relaying the message that we have laid out in front of us? Please and thank you. As best as I humanly could. Whoops, that was a really bad shuffle, you guys. Let's see. My goodness. Come on. Here we go. One more, and I think we'll have it. And then, if it feels right, yeah, it feels right, we'll cut them, and I'll see if the universe thinks that I delivered that, you know, to the best of my abilities, or pretty well at least. Okay, so yes, I've brought in the message from the higher power. With this 8, the message has come in, but they don't want me to stop reading just yet. This is like she's getting ready to cut down something. There's still a little life to the story. So they've got a little bit more that they want to say before I end it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up because I feel like we want to start fresh. It's just how I feel, you guys. I don't want to lay over the top. I feel like it's something, and I feel like you guys know, if you read, you have to do it how you feel is right. And in this particular moment, it feels to me like I need to lay new cards, okay? So let's see. I think it's probably like 4, but we'll see as I get to laying how it feels. I'm going to let him tell that last little bit of the story here about the media. So it is ending. We've seen that. One more shuffle. Let's see what they've got left to say. This is where they talk to us about why the hell do you care? All right, so we got the story about the media. And of course, you've got to remember when we're talking to the universe and to spirit, they're not in this place of ego that we all are. So they don't, you know, we need all this validation. We want to know right now. We want to know, which is a lot of what they talked to us about yesterday. That's an emotional something or other that we can look within and maybe heal within ourselves. But, you know, these are egoic questions, right? We're asking when's the media going to come down, not because our essence or our heart or our souls gives two shits, because our essence, our heart, and our soul doesn't care. It's only an ego mind that cares when this is going to come down. It's only the ego mind, right? And that's usually only because the ego wants to seek validation in some way, like, oh, I want to know that I'm right, or oh, I can't stand this and I want to know for sure that it's coming down. Whatever the reason could be, you know, whatever that reason, it's still the ego mind that wants to know this question. So what, as they gave us the information, then they start us off with the Lovers card, okay? So the Lovers in this deck, this is a higher arcana card, so it's a big picture, the big picture. Karmic, right? It's not the day-to-day like the lower arcana, it's the big picture, it's the karmic stuff. So this is the Lovers, and this is the vibration of 6, so it's birthing something new, and it's divine love, right? So with the Lovers card, they're starting this next phase of what they want to say with, you know, we love you, the universe is supporting you. The universe is really blowing down on you to get you to ignite your intuition more than our egos, right? Get ignited. And what it's saying is that we're too focused. We're focusing, they're saying, because we're focused only on this media, because that's the question of the day, that this over-focus is actually going to serve to bite us. Like, don't focus so much on this media. We're magical creatures, don't forget. And we're coming down to a bigger reason why they don't want us to focus on what we don't like about it, you guys. Don't get too wrapped up in this one particular thing or any one particular thing, okay? The universe is saying with love, tap into your intuition and learn to trust that. Because if we're just focusing with our egos on one thing or another, this is going to serve to bite us. And we come down from that. How does it bite us? Well, if we come down from that, we have the sun. And the sun is all about, in this card, the sun is all about, in this deck, sorry. Within this deck, this card is all about celebration. It's about warmth. It's about coming together. It's about rejoicing and abundance and, you know, like a little party, you know? It's like a little party. These little twins are out there dancing. They're dancing and they're celebrating. Oh, goodness. Hold on. I'll turn that off. Hold on. I'm going to pause you. There we go. Actually, because I paused you and it didn't actually affect you having to wait on me, I filled it because I'm cold. It's cold. I mean, we're in late October here in Maine. The nights are chilly, even if the days do warm up, which we've had quite a lot of really damp, cold days. But anyway, getting back to the reading, you guys. This is a celebration. So what the universe is telling us right now is don't focus so much on one thing or another that we're not liking, okay? Because that's going to bite us. And the universe is lovingly saying to us, focus on the celebration. Now, this is 21, right? The sun is 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 is rejoicing, right? So stay happy. Don't stress out over what you're seeing that you don't like that's obvious. Don't focus on that stuff. Stay happy. Stay focused on the things that you want, you guys. Manifest the world we choose. Focus on what feels good. It goes back to this thing yesterday, right? So we come down, now we have, so this is 2 major arcana cards telling us, you know, basically the same thing that it told us yesterday. Like, focus on what you want, rejoice, heal these emotions, okay? Heal these emotions that make us focus on what it is that we don't like, because that is our ego, and we have a lot of ego work to do. We have a lot of emotional healing to do. The universe told us that yesterday, showed us that. And I mean, people like you and I, we're working on that shit, and we know. We know that we have trauma. We know that we have trust issues. We know that we have big egos because we've seen so much and witnessed so much, and our ego has exploded over these things, you know. We all know that. We're all in that place where we understand that. I think all of us here probably do. I know I do. I get it. But this is a gentle and loving reminder from the universe saying, keep at it, you guys, because even though you're working on it, you're still going to a place of ego, and you're focusing on the things that you don't like rather on the things that are happening that are good. Like yesterday we got that we're not showing enough gratitude for what's happening that's good, for the heavy lifting that people are doing, for the support and the help that we are getting. And you know, so we've got a mindset and a shift to change, because yesterday it basically let us know if we want these good things, we have to be in alignment with it. And if we're focusing on the bad, we're actually pushing against the energy. So we have a lot of work to do. So it's asking us to rejoice. We come down to this 5, and 5 is great change, right? Through chaos. And so the universe is saying we understand that this great change is causing emotional chaos within people. Okay? And it's telling us if we don't like, because this is about the media, it's telling us if we don't like what we're hearing from the media, because we're in a different space than the people that it's trying to wake up, right? We're in a different space. We're already awake to it. So if we don't like what we're hearing, you guys, and it's making us emotionally pissed off, and we're closing our ears, what the universe is saying is open your ears, turn around and actually watch it if it's triggering you that much. And then pick out the things that are there for you for some form of learning, right? So it's saying, if you're that triggered by it, you should probably turn around and actually listen and watch, because there's something in it for us. Whether it be something that you then feel better about it because you can see how obvious it is, or maybe you're looking at the numbers and you see that it's got very few views, that very few people are actually on mainstream media, whatever it is. Or maybe it's going to show you something inside of yourself that needs healing. But we should be turning around. If it's triggering us that badly, we should be turning around and actually listening and looking. And don't forget, in that other one, it's like, you know, seek the information, seek the news, because if you do your independent research around mainstream media, you should be able to clearly find evidence that it's falling. And you should be able to clearly find evidence that the people on stage are being puppeted. You should be able to clearly find this stuff, right? So it's telling you, rather than being irritated and focusing on what you don't like, turn around. There's something in it, and it will be very healing. You know, it's part of being that warrior for oneself, where we heal our own emotions. This journey, as we were just told in the last layout, the media hanging on is to awaken people. And if we are already awoken to the fact that it is what it is, and it's hanging on and being overly ridiculous to help reveal things and awaken people, and we're that triggered by it, and we're focusing on what we don't like, which is technically biting us emotionally and keeping us in a poor emotional state, right, with this 5. It's time for us to turn around and examine that, and we'll probably be able to find proofs there. But it's part of being that emotional warrior for oneself. The Knight of Cups, you guys, is a warrior. Knights are warriors, and everything about the Knight of Cups is incredibly emotional. He's holding the cup. In tarot, cups are emotions. The moon is full in the Knight of Cups. The moon represents emotions. This is a full moon. He's dressed in a fish suit. Fish live in the water. Water and fish both represent emotions. The sea is behind him. The sea represents emotions. The seashells are around him. That represents emotions. He's actually a serpent, which lives in the water, which represents emotions. So this is a huge emotional card, but he's a fighter. He's a warrior. So he's getting ready to drink from his cup. He's bathing himself in his emotions so he can drink from his cup and heal whatever's irritating him. So they're saying, you know, if this is bothering us, we're focusing on the wrong place, and this is going to bite us. It takes us out of alignment. And they want us to celebrate. They want us to rejoice. They want us to focus on the good things that we can see and celebrate. Like yesterday, the heavy lifting that's being done, the changes that are being made. Like today, they said you can see the obviousness of the puppeting if you look with that moon, right? You have to look to see the information. So if we don't like what we're hearing and it's making us feel a particular way, it's time for us to turn around, look at it, and listen and find our information. And remember that this discomfort is actually creating a great change within us. And it's teaching us how to be a little more emotionally healthy with this Knight of Cups. So we're being advised to step into this emotional health. If we turn around, we'll actually celebrate. If we become the warriors of our own emotional well-being, we'll actually celebrate. If we take our eyes off of the thing that's biting us and making us feel crappy, we'll actually celebrate. And that's what the universe wants us to kind of redirect and focus on, because the news hanging on and being ridiculous isn't for us. We're already awake to it. It's for others to awaken. And if it's irritating us to that degree, and we're focusing on it, and we're focusing on how people are maneuvering with it, then we're not doing our own emotional work, and they want us to. So again, it takes us back to that whole, why should it matter if the news is still spewing lies as long as we're awake? What do we care what others think? That's their path, their business. If we're focusing on, and we all do it. We all get irritated, right? If we're focusing on the news lying and being so ridiculous, and people are still buying into the shit, and that makes us irritated, why? Because what others are buying into is none of our business. It's not our business. It's their path, their path. It's what they're doing in this life, and it's okay for others to be like themselves instead of like us. And it doesn't matter if they want us to be like them or not. It's not a tit for tat. It's about being emotionally healthy enough to say, I don't care that these woke jokes want me to be like them. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be authentic. I'm not going to be hateful towards them. I'm going to allow them to be them. And I'm not going to allow how they feel to impact me in this negative way, like we somehow impact them in a negative way. We're not trying to impact them negatively. And so we see their resistance to us and how they act around us and what they say about anybody that's not way far on that leftward path. We don't want to be those people. They're showing us how not to act, right? So we don't want to be those people. So take our energy back, take our power back, focus on us, because that's their path. They get to do whatever the hell they want. That's what freedom is. And we know that there's going to be a percentage that never ever wake up to it, and that's their path. It's okay. So let's not focus on how ridiculous we think the news is. Let's celebrate. And if we're really caught up in, but other people won't ever see the truth, that's none of our business. Let's go into our emotional healing, because why does that affect our happiness? Like, I know I've got people that live around me that are very, their ideas are very different than mine, but I'm still happy. Like, it doesn't affect me. I put my pants on my way every day. And I think that's the universe is wanting to redirect us back to emotional health and growth. And it's very important for us as we move forward. I had to get a sip of my coffee, you guys. It's very important for us as we move forward, because if we're going to be in an emotional, emotionally healthy societies thrive. And the universe wants us to thrive. And we're moving towards a more simplistic, more balanced, more loving, more respectful, more back to basics, being connected to nature and source, and appreciating what we have instead of always looking outside of ourselves for wanting more, right? If we're moving into that space, we can't align with that space if we're still emotionally unhealthy. So we're just we're just kind of getting another little message bouncing off of yesterday's message, that if we're bothered by all of this, we have our own emotional work to do. And they really want us to focus on the good stuff and celebrate. That's really where we'll be coming into alignment with where we're going. So now that that's been said, how is that? Have I delivered that message pretty well? Please and thank you. It's trusting the process, It's trusting the process. It's like, yeah, it's irritating. You would hope that more people would see clearly, but they don't. And it's okay. The news is hanging on because it's an awakening process. How long it takes is however long it decides, right? It will hang on for as long as it feels it needs to, but it is going to end. People that haven't seen clearly, it's okay. It doesn't impact us. We're awake. The news is not meant for us unless it's bothering us so badly that we have some emotional work to do around it. Whether that's not caring what others believe, because that's very important. We're not all here to be the same. We're here to be unique. We don't all want or need to be the same shade of gray, and it is absolutely okay for others to think the polar opposite, or feel the polar opposite, or believe the polar opposite, as long as none of us are hurting each other, right? And that's freedom, and that's the contrast. And we live in a world where there will always be contrast. If you don't want contrast, then you wouldn't have incarnated here. And we would just all be dead and go back and go back to spirit, where it's just lovely. But for now, for here on this earth, it's a learning experience. There's always going to be the contrast, because there's the uniqueness, because there's the free will, because there's the individuality, and it's okay as long as we can all learn to live in harmony, right? And be respectful. And that comes with emotional intelligence, emotional healing, emotional health, and emotional resilience, so that your emotions aren't impacted by how another person thinks, acts, dresses, lives, feels. Right? So, did I do a good job relaying the message to all of us today here? Please and thank you. How did I do? And can I be done? Nine. More to tell. You guys, I've got shit to do. But okay. 9. So, I'm going to pick these up because I like working with a full deck. It gives them more opportunity to talk. So the 9 is, the cycle is ending of the devil whispering on the shoulder. The cycle of lies is ending, you guys. Intuition is being ignited. Just let me shuffle them a couple more times and we'll come down with that very last message. And I'm telling you, and when I say that, I'm talking to my team and my highest self. I'm telling you, this is the last bit, because this is as far as we can go, you guys. So sum it up. Sum it up. Please and thank you. I mean, I know that you guys would talk on forever because you don't understand there's a our time, I know, is an illusion, but we actually have to live by it. So so that is the 9. So the cycle of lies is ending. The cycle of the lies, the baddie is whispering in your ear and telling you lies to make you nervous and upset, keep you awake in bed at night, create discomfort, and always deliver bad news to you, is ending. We're coming into a time where the intuition is waking up and spirit is going to be talking more, right? So one more shuffle, we'll cut them, and we'll get the next 3 cards to come off of that. All right, so get the next 3 cards that are coming off of that. So I just told you what this 9 is, the 9 of Swords. So the cycle of lies is ending. The liars, the baddies, whispering in your ear, creating this new system where it's designed to keep you worried. It's designed to keep you upset. It's designed to keep your vibration scrambled. That's all ending. The intuition is coming in, and it's waking up. What's happening is we're moving into this time of being the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is a very fair man. He walks in the world with great confidence. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He goes out. He doesn't fear. He holds his assets in front of him, feeling very safe in the world. He's a very, very fair, well-grounded man who knows that he's safe in the world, okay? So this cycle of lies, creating this distress and the upset and the anxious vibration that these guys just love feeding off of, is ending. The intuition is opening up, where we're all going to be much more comfortable in the world, okay? And they want you to know that we're going to be more comfortable. We're going to be more safe. We're going to be in this better place. That's the path that we're moving towards, right? The path that we're on. It's on point, on path. That path is bloomed. Right now we're in the scary phases of it. Like, we're walking down this path, you know, while we're going through these changes and these cycles that are ending, and everything's just so different and obvious these days. We're walking down this path alone at night, and it's like we're little kids, right? She's like a 12-year-old girl. She's walking down this pathway alone at night. It feels scary. It doesn't always feel comfortable to her. She's got her hands out in front of her, feeling her way. In other words, we're just feeling our way through this. We're young energies. We're going through a great change that we haven't experienced before. So we're very young energy. We're feeling our way through this. But our path is completely bloomed all the way around us. So we're on point and we're on path. And this is a 7. It's like seek the knowledge. Seek the wisdom. Seek the proof, because it's there for you if you seek it, that this cycle of lies is ending and that we really are moving into a much safer, into a much more stable, abundant, fair way of being. Now, down below this 9, where the lies are ending, the people that have been lying to you, this is a cycle that has to come to pass for us to move into a more fair, more abundant, more healthy way of, safer way of being, because that's our path. It's our path, and we're walking down that path right now. Down below this 9, we have this 5, the 5 of Pentacles. That's our earthly pleasures. 5 is going through great change. Great change is taking place on this earth plane as cycles of lies end. And with this 5 of Pentacles in this card, you'll see that it's a system hoarding money, spying at the people. Now, the thing is that this person is kind of onto it. She may be a little bit sleepy and one eye a little bit hypnotized, but she's creeping around now. She's still a little sleepy and a little hypnotized, but she's actually creeping around to start taking a little bit of a look at these systems. So great change is happening. And systems, the way that we've been living on path until now, are all undertaking a great change, you guys. And I know that they want to say more. So it's not just the news. It's not just the news. It's not just the media. It's not just people's emotions. It's not just our government. It's not just all of those things. It's every system that has had some form of control on this earth plane over people that's going through a giant change. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. And the universe is saying, you guys are just babies, really. I mean, you're just babies. You're learning how to maneuver this path. And it feels uncomfortable. But we're moving towards a place that's much better. So let me pull a couple more cards. How long have we been on? These have been really long readings the last few days. My goodness, you guys. Oh, let me pull a couple more cards, because I know there's just a little bit more to say. Can feel it. Can you see that? Those last few. Let me get a sip of my coffee. All right. Okay. So all of the systems are changing. It's not just the news. It's not just that we're emotionally growing. It's not just that we're moving into a different way of being here on the planet. It's all of these systems that have had some sort of a control over people, over humanity for a long period of time, are going through great change. And even the sleepiest of people, it's saying with this 5, because she's got one eye half closed like she's super tired, and one eye is completely done in that cartoon narrative, like the hypnotized eye. She is still, even though she's in that state of being, she's creeping around and she's starting to take a look at these systems. She may not be able to totally process it yet, but she is starting to take a look. And you know, that's part of the path that we're all walking on. So no, it's not just you that's uncomfortable. Know that these people that are sleepy, that are kind of waking up, may not be saying anything because they're going through their own sense of discomfort, okay? And they're starting to see, as we come straight down from this Five of Pentacles, they are starting to see how foolish they've been to trust things, and how it's been kind of biting them and damaging them emotionally. But in this deck with this Fool, this is a higher arcana card, and that is a lifting of vibration. So, you know, through this chaos and this discomfort, vibration is lifting. But it has to be done the hard way. This is like, this Fool is coming up in vibration by going through terrible shit. He's being bitten. He's being chased down by piranhas, you know? So it's like his dark night of the soul, his being hurt, his physical discomfort, is creating his awakening to a much higher vibration. And that's what all of this is about. And so we come down from all of this, the people that are probably waking up but not saying anything to you guys because they're going through their own sense of discomfort and they're not going to say anything yet. They're actually starting something new, and they're being washed clean. And so it's not just us, and it's not just those people that openly speak out like us. There are people that are waking up that are not saying a word because they're going through their dark night of the soul with it, okay? And they're being washed clean through this discomfort and this pain. And that's still all part of the process. That's part of the pain. That's part of the path. The path is uncomfortable and scary, right? But it's bloomed. It's a full bloom. And that's just part of it. They're being washed clean. Justice is coming in, holding the scales, you know, holding the emotions healthily, holding the swords upward, tuning into those higher dimensions, you know, doing the healing. Justice is coming in. It's part of this path. It's all playing out, and we're all playing out at different, we're not all on the same timing, but we're all on the same path. So you may have been awake for 20 years, and somebody else may have been awake for 80, and somebody else may have been awake for 5 or 4. And some are just coming to now, and they're in the beginning phases. So it's all happening. Everybody's going to be tuning in to a different radio station. Their vibrations are going to be coming up, okay? Their emotions are going to have to be dealt with because it's a very uncomfortable time. They're going to have to take a look at themselves and how they've played a role in their own demise. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves. I voted in these jerks. Even though I didn't have anything better to choose from, I still voted them in. I believed the this or the that was actually lies. I trusted this person who was actually lying to us. I behaved badly and thought that anybody that didn't think like me was an asshole. You know, we have to take all of these things that we may have done and look at them. That's the shadow work. And that's all part of the discomfort and the healing that's going to get us to a higher vibration. But everybody is in their own time and their own pace, is what we're being reminded of here. So that's a little reminder that don't stress it, because even if you don't know it, people are waking up. They're just not saying anything. They're being quiet about it. You know, there was a big reveal of people when Charlie Kirk was murdered. People who had never said anything, who had been being quiet this whole time, finally stood up and said, you know, I've been waking up to this for a while, and I'm not going to keep my mouth shut anymore. And, you know, and so this is consistently happening. That's part of the path. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for the reminder that even though it looks as though people are still following, a lot of people are waking up. People are still waking up, and they are seeing. They may not be saying anything, but they're beginning to see. And it's causing a level of discomfort for them too. So just know that everybody in the world is uncomfortable right now for different reasons. And that's all part of that worldwide shared dark night of the soul and the lifting of the vibration. And, the best thing that we can do for ourselves is heal ourselves and just let everybody just trust the process and know that it's unfolding as it's meant. The universe is looking over us, and that people will come to in their own divine timing when it's right, when they can process it. And some may never, and that is okay. So how is that? How did I do now? How am I doing? And can we be finished, please and thank you. Okay. Got the Empress. So we're finally complete. Thank you. They feel as though the message has been delivered in completion. So they showed us how the cycle of the media is ending. They went on to tell us to do our own work if we're irritated by it. And then they went on to explain to us that this is part of our path, and it's everybody awakening in their own timing, and that it is like, it's a process to bring us to a higher vibration. It is the dark night of the soul worldwide, and everybody is kind of going through it in their own way and their own timing. But the whole world is uncomfortable right now, so we all have our emotional healing to do, because there's something right now that's making everybody uncomfortable. Now I can sit here and pretend on my high horse that, oh, Lori's so spiritual that she never gets uncomfortable. That's not true. I get uncomfortable a lot, and I know all of you do. So imagine if we're that spiritual and we have this much connection, and sometimes we're uncomfortable. Imagine how people that are just waking up to these things, how uncomfortable they are, right? So we're uncomfortable with the fact that, like me, okay, and here's just one example. I am totally against what they're doing with vaccines and medicines to people. I know too much. I've seen too much. For Christ's sakes, I watched my mother, I lost my mother every single day to Alzheimer's for years. I lost more of her and more of her, and that's all because of those damn vaccines. That's just one instant. So for me to say I am passionate and completely passionate about these vaccines coming to a damn end, is I still don't have the correct words to give you my true feelings around these vaccines. And I've done readings on them, and the universe says, oh, Lori, things are being healed in the background. One of my puppies had a terrible reaction to a rabies shot back in 2003. And she almost died, and it turned into thousands of dollars for me to save her. And her little eye always drooped after that, and she had a weight problem after that, because I think it just totally screwed up her endocrine system. And, and these are just two examples. I've got so many. So I am uncomfortable every single day knowing that people are running for vaccines. The full truth about vaccines isn't just on mainstream media like we were just talking about, so that the people that are just waking up can start to get some sort of education there. That makes me super uncomfortable, you guys. Really uncomfortable. And I have to do a lot of emotional work around it, and I have to do a lot of spiritual work around it. And I have got to trust the process. I have to. Because there are people that I love that are going out and they're getting COVID boosters, and they're getting pneumonia shots, and they're getting their flu shots, and they love them, and they trust them, and it's uncomfortable for me. And I know people who are having babies, these kids that I love that are having kids that are going, and they're getting their children vaccinated. And there are people that I used to be close with that went and got their kids the friggin' COVID vaccine. And so, yeah, I'm uncomfortable every day. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this message isn't just as much for me as it is for all of you and whoever else might find this channel. I mean, we have some healing to do because we're uncomfortable a lot. It's just different degrees, right? We're uncomfortable because we carry knowledge that's a heavy weight to bear. And we're uncomfortable because we know that there are people waking up in their own time and they're watching the mainstream and they're trusting it. And mainstream is still telling people to go get a damn COVID shot, for instance, right? And this is work this is heavy work for me. Like, this is a lot of emotional work for me. It's spiritual work for me. It's trust for me. I still will not take anybody I love to get a shot, even if they begged me. I'm not going to be part of that, no. But, it's a lot of work for me, even though the universe is saying we've harvested things, we're healing things, Lorri, things are changing. Until I see it in full color, that these things have been removed, I will struggle with discomfort because I am human and I've seen too much. So this message is just as much, it's for all of us, and it's not to shit on any one of us. We all have these concerns and this discomfort. And when we're being honest with ourselves about our own journey here, we have a lot to heal. And so this is heavy work for me, and I know that we all have our own hot spots, places where we've really got a whole shitload of work to do, like for me around that, and other places that don't bother us so much, like for me around the financial system. That's not as big of a thing for me as it is for some. I just have never been that money oriented. Just want to be able to pay my bills and be comfortable. That's where I've always been. So it's not as big of a thing for me to heal that as it is like these shop things and the fact that they're still throwing that, shot narrative out on the mainstream. But we all have something that's really big, and then we have other things that are really small, and we have things in between, all of us, to heal and to work on. And that's really what this message was all about. And it was also about, trying to stay while we work on those emotional things, staying in the power of positivity and seeking out the proofs that we need so that helps to calm us a little bit while we're doing the emotional work. And the answer, did I do a good job? Can we be done? We got the Empress, which is a higher arcana card. And she's all about healing, you guys. So it's a great way to say, yes, Lorri, we can be done. You delivered the message, the healing messages, as well as the information. And again, she's a 3, so it's a reminder for us to stay in that joy vibration, you guys. To stay joyful, to continue our own healing. Be the Empress. Keep healing those triggers. Like I just told you, one of the harder ones for me. We'll just keep healing that. And all the other ones that we find, keep being the Empress. Keep healing. Keep connecting to our Creator, to our highest selves, asking our spiritual team and guidance to help us energetically. Keep filling ourselves full of our Creator's energy. Keep grounding that into earth. Keep pulling energy from the earth. Keep doing our spiritual work, our emotional work. Keep healing every single thing that we can find within us that needs healing. Know that we live in this world of contrast, you guys. She's on a checkerboard. It's black and white, but still embody this journey that's coming up her arm, that bloomed rose. Embody that. Step into our divinity with that purple cape. Know that we came from God. We have God within. We were plucked out of God. We are incredible creatures, and use that divine energy that is within us, that we came from, that we channel through us, that we radiate out of us, and that we ground into earth to stand in our power and continue our healing journey. And keep opening up that crown chakra. Do your spiritual work to connect more and more with that crown chakra. Her her crown here is indigo blue. And that is the color of our crown chakra, if you can see it energetically. It's that purpley indigo blue. Keep working on that crown chakra. She's got the light that is emanating off of it, where she's expanding that crown and connecting upward, because that's where we're going to receive the biggest part of our healing from our creator, our divine source that we are ourselves, that we have in us. We can pull more of that energy for our physical body. The more we pull light, the more we do it, the more our body gets accustomed to holding it, and the more our bodies hold that light, and the more we can expand energetically, and the more that we can actually heal ourselves through our divine magic, right? And don't forget to ground that into earth. The earth's energy is also healing us. So rather than being fleas on a dog's back and being a parasitic relationship where we are living on the earth and taking from the earth for our own survival, if we're grounding heaven into earth, we're more symbiotic. We're accepting of the earth's energy that's healing us. We're accepting of the earth's bounty that feeds us, shelters us, all of that. And we're grounding a very healing energy back in. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So that's all those reminders, right? And to always see, even though, like, when you look at this card in the Deviant Moon deck, in behind her there's a rose garden. And there's blooms everywhere. And she's creating those blooms. But she understands that rose garden is full of thorns. And if you look, you can see it's very thorny back there. So remember that as we go through this healing process, as we become more and more our authentic selves and touch our true divine nature, and we do this work more and more, we're going to realize that we're not only the rose, but we are the thorn. And that everything is here. Everything is. And that's balance. And that really is when we're doing our best work. When we realize not only are we the thorn, the rose, but we ourselves are also the thorns. All right, you guys, I love you all. Long reading again today. Lots to say in these times. Know that we're never alone. We're always supported. Life is happening with us, not to us. And that's often what our messages are here via the universe. They give us answers, and then they support us, and they explain to us where we could benefit to work, and why we're being affected the way that we are, and that we're going through great change, and that we're not alone, and we are being supported. And so I hope that you found some value in all of this, and I love you all very much. Keep at it. Keep at it, you guys, and stay in that love vibration and that vibration of joy. No matter how uncomfortable we get, those two vibrations will help us stay grounded, centered, and help us get through these times. All right, you guys, I love you. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I will see you all soonish. Bye.